Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and today we're going to be talking about the Opticor Vandal that was released into Warframe with the Buried Depths event. A lot of people don't like this weapon because it is a decrease in damage compared to the original Opticor, but it is an increase in fire rate and an increase in critical chance. I've seen a lot of people in my Twitch chat and in other Twitch chats on Twitter, etc., being a little bit over dramatic about this weapon. It's not a crazy decrease to damage. It's still a viable weapon. It's still a lot of fun. It is a faster firing Opticor with the damage toned down just a little bit to balance it out, to make it so that, it's not leaps and bounds better than the original Opticor type of thing. And then, of course, you have that extra critical chance on there, which is going to help out with your Hunt Munitions slash procs, because that is 30% chance to proc a slash proc on a critical hit, and you are modding the Opticor for critical. And because, of course, you have that faster fire rate, then you're going to be applying those a lot more consistently or a lot more often, which means you just have more overall DPS, which is really nice and really cool. So I just wanted to demonstrate that in today's video and talk about some of the modding options that you have with this weapon, because like I said, I was seeing a lot of people be a little bit over dramatic about, that decrease to damage, and it isn't huge, to be completely honest with you. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the build first. It is a standard being Hunt Munitions crit build. So we have our Serration on here for our damage, Split Chamber on here for our multi-shot, which is basically just an increase to our damage, Hunt Munitions on here for the forced slash procs on critical whenever, well, you have 30% chance to have that. Vital Sense for our critical damage. We've got our Point Strike on here for our critical chance. We have two elemental mods off our choice. So in this case, I'm using corrosive damage, because using corrosive damage is going to yield 75% bonus corrosive damage versus the likes of a heavy gunner, which is what we're going to be testing against, a level 110 corrupted heavy gunner, because that's the highest level enemy that you're going to come across in, I would say, daily casual content, such as the sorties. And then we have a Prime Beam mod on here to double dip on our slash procs, which we're going to be getting from our Hunt Munitions, right? So double dipping, I've got a video on Prime Beams. You can go ahead and take a look at that, and it explains the mechanic. It's basically just bonus damage to your slash procs, and then of course you get that damage bonus to every enemy within the corrupted faction if you're using it. But this here modding slot in particular, I would say, is your optional modding slot. So on the slot you can use the likes of, a fire rate mod such as Speed Trigger, or you can swap it out for Val Acceleration. You can use Vigilante Armaments, you can use another element, you can use Argon Scope, you can use Bladed Rounds, whatever. In order of damage, I think it goes like a Prime Beam, then Bladed Rounds, and Argon Scope, and then it's kind of tied with Vigilante Armaments and another element. So, take that as you will, and then mess around with it as you want to, or just, build accordingly, with what you have as either a new or older player. So yeah, Prime Beans is, in my opinion, the best option, and that's what I use on a day-to-day basis. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw that on. But yeah, let's take a look at the stats. We got 100 accuracy, 0.6 charge rate, a critical chance of 60%. So we're not going to be critting every single shot. We got a critical multiplier of 5.7 times, which is pretty high. We got a fire rate of 2, magazine of 8, noise is alarming, punch rate of 1.0, reload speed of 1.4, ribbon dispo of 4, so you can get pretty good ribbons for this as well. I do have a ribbon for it, but I need to re-roll it because, status chance isn't an ideal roll, I would say. It's okay, but you realistically want damage, multi-shot critical damage, and then the harmless negative. We've got our status of 49.2%, which is nice. We've got trigger charge, which means it kind of needs fire rate, but it also doesn't because of the increased fire rate, and you'll see what I mean whenever we go ahead and we start testing this. We got 402.8 slash, 1.4k puncture, 201.4 impact, and 3.6k corrosive with my build in particular. And then if we take a look at the base stats, we got 100. Okay, accuracy, charge rate stays the same, critical chance 24, critical multiplier 2.6, status 30, slash 80, puncture 280, impact 40, and then no corrosive because we don't have any elemental mods on. So that is that, and this has a total of 6 format as displayed by this little star up here in the top right hand corner. So if we go ahead and we test out versus these big hefty heavy gunner boys, I'm going to spawn in a new batch because I was playing against those guys just a second ago. There we go. So we're not going to get any sort of damage bonus from having these guys pause, because that's a common misconception that I see a lot of people tossing up in the comment section. That's only for melee. That's your stealth damage bonus. We don't have that. And I should probably go ahead and unequip my crit kitty as well. Well, I say my crit kitty, my Smida kitty, in case we have some sort of crit buff or reload speed buff or whatever that, well, we do have quickly reload on, which is kind of meh. It's going to affect our DPS calculations a little bit, but, well, I mean, we're not really calculating anything, but let's just show the damage, I guess. So hold it down, kill within 2 shots. If I just, you know, do a follow-up shot straight after, if we just go ahead and we do 1 shot, 1 fully charged, you can see we actually kill him 1. So if you just want to kill him really fast, I'd recommend 2 follow-up shots, but you're also relying on your slash proc actually procking, because, you know, you got to have that procking for that damage over time to occur to deal damage to the enemy for his armor type of thing. And then also having that corrosive proc kicking in, because you're modding for corrosive damage to reduce the enemy's total armor, so you deal just bigger numbers in general, so your slash procs deal more damage. That is very important as well. So you see we didn't proc corrosive nor slash there, so we didn't kill him from the get-go, but because we proc our slash proc right there, you know, we have that follow-up damage over time, which is really good. And the reason that the Opticor Vandal, in my opinion, is a good sort of side grade to the original Opticor is the fact that it does have that increased fire rate, right? So follow-up shots are a lot easier. So I myself personally, I was never a fan of the Opticor, but now because we have this increased fire rate version of it, you know, I can see myself using it a lot more now. Another thing I was noticing with this is that we also have magnetic procs, which kind of kick in from time to time, which is pretty cool as well. But this thing is just an absolute cannon, right? Like, you can snipe enemies from very far away and just straight up one-shot them. It's extremely good, and I wouldn't let people here being a little bit over dramatic about the damage, you know, decrease sort of sway you away from doing the event and actually picking up this weapon, because it's really good and it's really fun. And I'm going to show you ways to make it even more fun, right? Because we can use things like arcane acceleration to increase the fire rate and make this thing just shoot one big laser after the other, and it's really fun to use. So let's go ahead and equip 2 times arcane acceleration. So there we go, there's one, and we also have the other one. So what you're going to notice now, we spawn in more bad guys and we head over to them. Whenever we crit, we're going to have a chance to proc arcane acceleration, and arcane acceleration is going to make it so we have a faster fire rate. So it's just shot after shot after shot, which is really cool. So there's arcane acceleration in, and this thing just turns into an absolute beast. Now you combine that with something like your Smedekavat's quick reload, right? You just fire this thing more or less endlessly, or any frame that gives you like a reload speed buff, like Haro, for example. And, you know, if you're getting consistent headshots with this thing, it turns into an absolute monster. Well, more of a monster than it already is. Like, I don't even have to necessarily aim for the enemy's head. I just have to go pew pew pew, and the bad guys die. So extremely fun weapon to use. And of course, this isn't buffing myself in any way, shape, or form, apart from using corrosive projection to strip away 30% of the enemy's armor. That's a big deal as well, but I just use that across all my Warframes, so that's something worth noting. Of course, I'm knocking all those bad guys off because I'm not getting headshots, but we're still dealing really good damage to these guys. So the Opticor, or the Opticor Vandal, in my opinion, is an absolute tank. So if we go ahead and we kill that group of enemies that I have and I didn't finish off, do that, and then we spawn in another group like so, and we use something like a buffer frame. Best buffer in the game at the minute is Mirage, so let's just go ahead and try Mirage. You know, if you want to build around primary weapons and just buffing yourself up, and you want to just one-shot everything, this would be the frame that I would recommend going to. You can use your third ability by itself and stand in all of the light, and you just one-shot, you know, they're just dead. It's crazy. And then you've got that arcane acceleration kicking in the background as well, because I've got that equipped on my Mirage, I think. There we do. You can just go one after the other and kill all of them. And not to mention, you also got Mirage's doppelgangers too, right? So you have 3 Opticor lasers coming up, and bad guys do the big die. It's great. It's awesome. I love it. I recommend picking it up from the Buried Depths event. I have a video showing you guys how to do that event in particular. I posted that, I think, 2 nights ago. Yeah, because last night was the Hildren first impressions, or the Hildren's first look. But yeah, I just seen a lot of people being a little bit over dramatic about the damage increase, or not the damage increase, the damage decrease to the Opticor Vandal, and you're like, well, what's the point if you're just going to decrease the Vandal? But it's still, honest to God, is a absolute monster of a what would you call this? Just a massive cannon, I guess. It's an absolute monster of a massive cannon. It's a beast. Like, I definitely 110% recommend picking it up, and I wouldn't let people sort of convince you otherwise. As long as you're building it correctly, you know, you should be good to go. Even if you're going with the most basic form of a Opticor Vandal build, like let's say we have Infected Clip Stormbringer, like we have this very standard build: Serration, Split Chamber, Hunt Munitions, Vital Sense, Infected Clip Stormbringer, Point Strike, and we just want to go ahead and stack up on our corrosive damage by using like Malignant Force or something. So we go ahead and put that on. Okay, and that stacks up on our corrosive, gives us more status chance, so we're more consistently stripping away the enemy's armor, right? And then we have bonus corrosive damage, which is just going to equate to more damage in general. We spawn in these guys. You're going to see that we still pretty much shred enemies, even without, you know, the fancy beam mods or whatever. Takes a little bit more shots, and it depends how often you strip away the enemy armor and stuff like that. But it's still insane damage. Well, I say insane damage. It's not like you're shredding enemies, but it's good enough to the point where you feel like you're dealing damage with every single shot, right? So, yeah. And then we use our buffs, like so. And then you still one-shot them. So if you're using your Warframes to buff yourself up, then you're going to be good to go, right? You're still going to one-shot bad guys and all that jazz. Maybe you use arcanes as well to buff yourself up, put yourself that little bit over the edge. That's totally fine too, and you're definitely going to get places. So that's my take on the Opticor Vandal. Definitely pick it up. My Mirage doppelgangers are a little bit bugged right now because they're holding the tattoo instead of the Opticor, but yeah, go out of your way to get the Opticor Vandal. I think you're missing out if you don't get it, but yeah, go ahead and get it. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, hit that like button below. And if you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.